Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be taking a look at the T30. Now, as many of you may know, the T30 is the top prize for all of the tankers taking part in this year's Festive Quest, and it is quite a beast. It is of course a modification of the already well known T34 and T29 currently on the American tech tree, and this is simply a variant of those tanks fitted with a 155mm cannon. Now, this tank does sit at tier 4 on the American tank tech tree, as well as having a rating of 6.7, which is the exact same as its other premium counterpart, the T29, and this is, as you can see, a premium vehicle. So it comes with all of the premium bonuses, as well as increased research points and increased silver line gain. So very good stuff there. Now, as I said, the gun was a 155mm cannon. This gun has 4 options in terms of different rounds. You can either use APBC, HE, smoke rounds, or you can use APCBC. Now, the APCBC and the smoke rounds are technically modifications, although as this is a premium vehicle, all modifications come pre-researched, so you do not need to worry about getting them. Although personally, the shell I would actually use more is the stock APBC round, as that actually has better penetration on angles compared to the later APCBC. But nonetheless, the rounds you want to use are up to you. And as for the HE round, it can be useful due to the high explosive mass, but I wouldn't really use it against most things, as when you're facing most vehicles, it won't really be so useful. Although, surprisingly, when facing vehicles like the Mouse, bouncing it off of the mantle and exploding downwards into the chassis of the vehicle can actually help to take down the Mouse by setting him on fire. So, you know, it does have its uses. And in terms of the smoke shell, I would take a few of the smoke shells just to be safe, as this vehicle does not have smoke grenades. And of course, whenever talking about guns, you must go into the reload rate of the gun. This gun has a 38.87 second reload rate. That's quite a big reload rate. That can leave your tank rather exposed when reloading. Luckily for me, I have been able to get mine down to 34 seconds, although the max you can get it down to is 29.9 if you've maxed out the weapon reloading and you've also aced the cruise. So if you really enjoy the vehicle, that could be something to look into doing. Although nonetheless, that is a big reload rate. That can be rather annoying, and you really will need to make sure that the first shot you fire at an enemy is going to be the last one you have to fire at them, because if you don't kill them with that first shot, they're definitely going to kill you before you've reloaded. Brief thing to touch on before we go into game is the armor of the vehicle. Definitely a hull down vehicle. The chassis armor is only just over 100 mils on the thickest part, but the turret on the other hand is far more heavily armored, so definitely a hull down vehicle. If you did want to look at the armor in more detail, go look at the armor values on either the T34 or the T29. Anyway though, let's get into some gameplay. So the first game in the T30 was on the map Berlin, and this was a very standard enemy A point, friendly B point type situation where we had to capture their base. I did initially sort of flank around the edge of the map, and I found this enemy sniper in the form of this Panther, who I moved into. He did shoot me, but luckily my shot got to him before he's got to me. And, you know, as you can see, it went straight through the upper frontal plate, and it knocked out his entire crew. Next, I did find a Puma, and I have no idea what he was doing at 6.7, but nonetheless, I blew him up anyway. So, you know, and I'm really surprised that that didn't actually kill the entire crew of his vehicle. He has no armor, so I do not understand how that did not do that. But nonetheless, the game was over. We captured the A point, and I was luckily there for the cap, so I got some extra points for that. And that was the end of the game. 2 kills, 1 base cap, a fairly standard affair in terms of a War Thunder Tank RB game, but nonetheless a decent first game in the vehicle. So on to the next game on the map Abandoned Factory. At least for me personally, this is one of my more preferred maps in the game to play. A very enjoyable map in my opinion. Lots of sneaky little places to go. Lots of good ways to flank around. And that's the exact tactic this little hidden BMP-1's taken. Flanked around to our side of the A point, and he is hiding and is actually shooting friendly tanks. Luckily for me, I was able to get a shot into him, and, you know, the rounds are so big that it hull broke him, as well as knocking out his entire crew due to the explosion. So, you know, pretty easily dealt with. Next up, a Lorraine 40T. Generally a rather dangerous vehicle to face. Luckily, he doesn't see me. 1 shot to the turret, knocks out the crew, in the turret at least, but that does give me the kill. So, second kill of the game, not too bad. Fourth kill was on a Panther 2. I basically lugged a massive shell through the back of his turret, and, you know, no one's really going to walk away from that. So that was, again, another decent kill. Next kill was on a Ru 251. Very annoying tank to face, mainly due to its mobility and actually a decent gun, as well as having Heat FS rounds, although he does get hull broken. So with this vehicle, with a big enough shell, as you have with the 155mm cannon, if you're facing anything that gets hull broken, you will hull break it. Next up, ASU 85, one shot straight into him, knocks out his entire crew, giving me my 5th kill of the game. And now for my 6th and final kill of the game on a Coelian. This vehicle is fairly easy to kill, it's just a Panther chassis with an anti-aircraft turret, though unfortunately after that I was killed by another Coelian and an IS-6. Now the Coelian was hitting me, I was very close to actually killing him, unfortunately though I was then sniped from a long range. Nonetheless though, it was a fairly decent early game in the vehicle.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
So a quick jump onto the map Stalingrad to quickly demonstrate how to deal with Tiger 2s. With the late variant of the turret, try and hit the sides or the top, that way it should go in fairly easily. Don't bother trying to pen the frontal plate of the turret because your shell simply won't go through. With the early variant on the other hand, just hit the lower part of the frontal plate and the shell should ricochet or explode downwards into the crew compartment, giving you a nice easy kill. Really do get to grips though with killing Tiger 2s in this because they will be the main thing you face and the main thing that will kill you most of the time. Alright, so into another game. This was actually my second best game so far in the vehicle, my best one being the game previously seen on Abandoned Factory, and I was surprised how many decent games I was able to get in the short amount of time I've had the vehicle. I only got it today, played it for about 4 hours before starting to edit the video, so, you know, I'm pretty happy I was able to get the video out today. Now, as you saw a second ago, I did kill a Tiger 2 by hitting the commander's cupola and the shot exploding downwards. Unfortunately, another Tiger 2 did knock out my gun, so I retreat into this little hidey hole in between these two buildings to repair it. Despite being a large tank, you are fairly mobile. Lovely reverse gear, very useful. Now, I find a good camping position near this central point on the map. An enemy Tiger 2 drives past, doesn't see me, and yeah, I hit his ammunition, and his turret goes bye-bye. There is an enemy T-44 moving around. I luckily do spot him, turn my gun around, and wait. He is coming around, I know he's going to come along, and he doesn't know I'm here. So I get my gun on target, and I just wait. Here he is, one shot, and he's knocked out. So that is my 3rd kill of this game. Continuing on, the same thing happened again, this time with a BMP-1. I saw him coming around, I just turned my gun, waited, and he appeared, and I was able to hull break him. And this was actually my final kill of the game on a Panther F, I believe. He was driving off, and, you know, I was able to kill him and get me my 5th kill of the game. Final thing I did was to engage this IS-2, and, well... Now onto the final game of this video. So I only got 2 kills this game. First one was here. As you can see behind this tent, there is actually an AMX-13 there, so I need to be very cautious. I don't know if he knows I'm here, so I decided just to move forward, just fire a shot, and there we go. Straight through the lower frontal plate, destroys his entire crew, destroys everything inside the tank, giving me my 1st kill of the game. Second kill was on one of those Italian armoured cars, the one with the single recoilless rifle. One shot into him, it did end him fairly swiftly, and that was my last kill of the game. I did finally get basically sniped from long range from up on that hill by an AMX-13. So, but you know, fair dues, it was a good snipe, so fair enough to him. Anyways though, I am going to end the video there. So just a general consensus for me after having the vehicle for a few hours. I would say it is a fairly decent vehicle. It's definitely not a main lineup vehicle. It's not the vehicle you would take out to play in a grinding lineup. It's more of a backup to, for example, the T29. It would be where you have your premium T29, you're using that to grind. This would be sort of the vehicle that you have as a secondary, possibly even a 3rd vehicle to use. It's really not the kind of thing you want to use at the beginning of the battle. It's the thing that I think would perform a lot better if you take it out later on in the game, where everyone else is in their weaker tanks, because a major weakness of this vehicle is the chassis armor. The actual hull armor is a lot weaker than the turret, so you do find a lot of the time if someone hits you there, they will actually one-shot you fairly effectively by hitting you on the hull of the vehicle. The turret, on the other hand, brilliant armor, very good stuff. The gun, fairly decent gun. It will have trouble penning certain vehicles in mostly up tiers, but on the whole, you have very good pen, very good sort of explosive force with a lot of the rounds, and with lighter vehicles, if they have hull break, you will basically hull break them every time, so that makes it incredibly easy to face the more annoying armoured cars, or possibly even vehicles like the Ru-251. But nonetheless, to sum it up, I think this is a very fun and unique vehicle to have in either your premium or standard lineup, or just generally in your War Thunder lineup, in your hangar. Just a nice vehicle to have. Definitely any collectors out there, definitely something I think you should try and get when you can, as when it goes onto the market, it's likely, at least initially, going to be quite an expensive vehicle. Anyway though, thanks a lot for watching the video. If you did enjoy, please consider smashing that like button. Maybe even subscribe to the channel. If you do, that would be massively appreciated. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.